One hero swap can turn your good team to a top 100 by damage. Most players overcomplicated their roster changes. Sometimes it's just plug and play, and it works. Here's why some of the heroes that I'm going to show you boost my damage output in the Temporal Vortex, and I'm going to explain first what I did, and after this what I did with hero swap, so I can start getting in the top 30 in the Temporal Vortex with right now 300 million damage on the tier 4 Temporal Vortex. So first I'm going to go directly in the challenge, and I'm going to show you what was my first Temporal Vortex was looking like. And that was Caspar, Flora and Felicity. Now from here you're going to see that there is a hero that is not right there and is not part from the elemental affinity, and this is Garios. But Garios was basically my hero, and he was the main target of the Temporal Vortex. Just because I put more HP on this hero and etc. He was the one that was keeping my heroes alive. But later, when I continue progressing in the game, I actually start boosting the elemental affinity. If I go in the Psychor elemental affinity, you're going to see here is needing 5 heroes from the same elemental affinity to get this extra damage, like 20% more damage do. And here is like minus 6% from the boss, which is very decent boost for your heroes. And having a hero that was not part from this elemental affinity was actually breaking everything apart. So even if you click over the hero and click over the elemental affinity, you're going to see that 3 heroes is getting pretty decent results, but 4 heroes is getting the bonuses I show you. So I was thinking how I can replace Garios somehow to actually keep my team still strong, still with good survivability, because the fight in the Temporal Vortex is like 10 minutes, and if you don't have prepared a good team for these 10 minutes, it's going to, you know, every minute that you're not fighting, for example, your team get destroyed at the 5 minutes before the Temporal Vortex finish. So you're missing 50% from the whole time that you can actually do damage. So you have to think about the survivability, and same time you have to think over the damage that you're going to do. And for the Temporal Vortex, it's nice to have just one support. So what I did in this situation is I replaced Garios with Adolphus, especially with this artifact. Now if you don't have this artifact, you can basically replace it with some other artifact, like this one, for example, Antinaya Tiara. The wearer gets 15% more shield, so you're going to your heroes is going to just receive more shield, and at the same time is going to get alignment. This hero is based on the alignment, and this thing is going to boost also the spell from the shield, because like 3150% alignment shield to all alliances. So if you have this extra 90 alignment, it's just crazy. So this is one of the first steps that I did. And there is something else that I also did, and this is defense down first always, and this is before you actually hit with your spells. The timing here is first is hitting Flora, after this is hitting Felicity with Witch's Remains. Now I really don't want first Felicity to hit with the defense penalty. I have Witch's Remains. Now if you don't have this artifact, you can easily replace it with where is this? This one, Crown of the Unclean. When the wearer use ultimate skill to do damage, you have 50% chance to get a defense penalty 1. Obviously can go to 75%. She's hitting couple times, just to mention that it's like 5 times, so for sure you're going to apply at least defense penalty 1. But here is the strategy here. Since Flora, the ultimate is deals directly fire damage to the enemy. During this time, the vortex get 1 energy stacks for each time the target takes damage from wild skills. So you get benefits for Flora if the Felicity is hitting after Flora use her ultimate. So we're losing a little from this 300 directive fire damage over the defense penalty that Felicity can apply. But yeah, this is the first thing you can do. I strongly suggest the first artifact you're going to get just to be, which is remains. 60% chance defense penalty. There is just not many heroes. If hero was attack penalty, I will not suggest that, because attack penalties, every second hero is having attack penalty. But defense penalty is one of the rarest debuffs in Dragonheir 7 Gods or Dragonstride. And yeah, this is one of the main reasons. You just go with this artifact as a first one. Also, it's not minimum to one target. Here, where you use ultimate skill to deal damage, blah blah blah. On the one of the targets for 10 seconds. Here we don't have limit. Chance defense penalty to the target for 10 seconds. Can only be inflicted once per target by a single cast of ultimate skill, but when you use it on the AoE damage dealer and have enough accuracy obviously to apply defense penalty, it's going to apply also for the goblin there and many places. This is multi defense down, and the defense penalty is just I think it was like 60%. I don't remember quite well. If I go and maybe check it out, this defense penalty, yeah, I cannot actually see, but I think it was something like 60% defense down. And after that is actually hitting the Caspar. Caspar is the hero that with the ultimate damage is doing crazy amount of damage. On top of that, I have from the, what was the name, go to upgrade, this is the talents. From the talents I have this one where there is a 25% chance to cast damage again. So basically you execute 2 times the ultimate. I think it's extremely nice, especially for a Caspar. Obviously for Flora is different. Pure of the Sacred Frames energy, 20% chance to get extra stacks of energy and etc. For Felicity I actually use this one, which when roll 5 or higher 10 times in the will dice, since she's like hitting like 5 times, this thing is also get triggered pretty often. On top of that is getting 1 to the wild dice every time. Now this one is a very powerful, but you know, rest of the other 2 heroes is just, it's not good to have it this let's say talent tree. Now the other thing is of course the procs. You have to always check out the procs, how the things will be. Obviously right now, if I replace, for example, Frurbath with Eric, I'm going to do crazy amount of damage, but the survivability is just going to drop. Now, one of the things that I really like over the Eric is his passive, and this is when Eric appears, upgrade all wild heroes dice increase their maximum value by 2. Now, normally 6, and it's going to become 8. Normally for 4 is 10, is going to become 12. So you see this small difference, but it's game changing. Boy, this thing is a game changing. But still, I cannot actually use Eric because the other 3 heroes is way better. Now the swap I actually did, just to go back, is I replaced Garios with Adolphus. And obviously right now there is a team that is doing crazy amount of damage and is using only Adolphus. If I go on the first place, if I check, like 2.2 billion of damage, and it's having just Adolphus here. It's basically the same like what I have. This is also very nice. That is when he put a shield, is also dispelling the debuffs. Like this, you can also coordinate which one. It's like when the boss is applying this defense down. If I check it out, this total damage, yeah, after this spell you're going to get this defense penalty, basically reducing the defense by 20%, which can be removed from the Adolphus. I think this is very nice, especially before the and it's also doing some AoE damage, but I think before these 2 spells hit, I think this defense down should be removed from the Adolphus. But yeah, this is just a suggestion what kind of heroes. Obviously my survivability of my team is lower. I'm working in this direction, but right now I have 5 from 5 in the same elemental affinity, and with this small change I actually boost from 150 million jumping to 300 million damage on the temporal vortex, which is crazy, not gonna lie. And obviously the cycles are important in the temporal vortex. If I go and check it out, the skill timing, obviously the Flora is going to fire up before these two heroes, so they can actually bring some extra in this vortex or pillar of sacred flame. But my Frurbath 25 seconds is actually the moment the boss is before he actually triggered this and this spell, because it's for 10 seconds, so he's going to catch these two spells, which is very nice from point of receiving less damage. And for Adolphus, I tried to make some different skill timing for him, but I didn't find the right one. So I just put him like on auto. As you can see, it's just default. Like this, just non-stop spam this shield, brother. I mean, we need this shield. And yeah, I think this is also important. Now, is this free to play friendly? The swap I did, yes. I mean, Adolphus and Garios is epic heroes. Now, obviously, behind I have Flora, Felicity, and Caspar, which is, you know, not that free to play friendly, especially Flora. Flora actually take me 2 pulls, 300 dice to actually get her. No wonder it's that hard, this hero, because it's basically getting like 500k per second as DPS, which is crazy. My Jasper is doing 1.5, 150, 160k per second. That was my top DPS before I actually get 4. But yeah, you can use some other heroes from the wild section. Now, this one is extremely good one. Attack up increase. Also, there was a critical, if I remember right. Get additional 20% critical rate when the early wild days are over 5 seconds. Get additional 5 critical damage. Very nice, very strong hero. Other one that I can suggest is Browin. Browin is doing also crazy amount of damage. Just to mention that, 750% damage if you're looking for wild, because so far I think wild is one of the best at the moment. Other hero I can suggest is Fole. Fole is also doing some nice amount of damage from the wild teams. And obviously the epic one is way better. Now, Alfie, people are thinking that he's crazy, but I don't think he's crazy. Now, here's the thing. He's spawning this Nexus under the wild dice with 70% chance to increase the result by 1. Okay, that's nice from Alfie, but it's just not giving enough. This thing is not giving enough from point of damage, and that's why I don't use Alfie, but still it's a good pick. On top of that, you can use also Eric. I think Eric you can get it for free basically, which is a wild hero, and you can combine it with Eric with Tonaunan. And also this bad boy is doing pretty decent amount of damage, and this is Karaman. Karaman is also, it's not even leveled up his spell, and he's doing crazy amount of damage, not gonna lie. This damage ignores 30% of the target defense. And if you have some good artifacts like Witch's Remain, is going to make the things way more easy. But the first thing that I did, especially when I'm at this stage where I start boosting the 5 hero elemental affinity, and to boost my damage I actually make all of the heroes the same elemental affinity, and this is going to also help you in the Continental damage basically against the heroes. We're talking about the Temporal Vortex, but it's also applying to Continental Challenge. And for Continental Challenge, I'm on the place number 23 by damage. Yeah. So the main damage was coming from the main team for Temporal Vortex. There was just the game changing there. So you basically built one strong team, and it's going to be way more easy. Also, with this strong team, I also can do some other teams. For example, Grave of Curse. You can see, by the way, I'm going to make one example. This is, you know, a hero level 20, and I'm going to just obviously always use some food, but yeah, look at the damage. What is going to happen? He's not going to even have the full charge just by building one extremely strong team. Here comes the Flora, here comes the Vanya. There is a pretty decent chance she actually die. Okay, 23 31. Yeah, okay. I'm not gonna have the luck here, but normally I basically one shot this boss with this spell. Sometimes it's luck related, especially if you want to do the whole instance for 20 seconds and take out this big chunk of HP. So yeah, with this simple change in the Temporal Vortex, removing Garios, putting there the Adolphus, I managed to do crazy amount of damage in Dragonheir Samagots or Dragonstride. And yeah, let me know in the comments if you make some change in your team and it result with crazy damage over Temporal Vortex. I think the majority of the people are very excited over Temporal Vortex, and there is a reason behind, because you know this thing is going to give you a lot of points at the end of the season. So yeah, I guess this will for this video, guys. I really hope you enjoyed. If you do, hit one like, subscribe, and see you in the next video.